And you've got a revenue stream of sorts, I suppose, Liz, although not as much as you'd like.
We wish. Well, no, we're not even doing live streams or anything like that, because getting the whole band together, because we don't like doing it as a duo.
No.
Me and Peter, the guitarist, my other half.
Yes.
People have said to me, would you do a live stream? And I'm like, not really keen. Prefer it with the proper band experience myself, but that's just us.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's we're hoping to get back out in summer, aren't we? Please, Boris, let us out.
Now, you want the opportunity now to name check the other people in the band, Liz, as well.
Of course, there's Peter Brooks. He's lead guitar and he does the majority of the music writing. And then we have Owen Davison on bass, and we have Robert Craner on drums, and we have Paul Brambani. So I always make sure I say that name properly. And he's on keys, including Hammond and so on. And then there's myself. So.
And you are?
I'm Elizabeth Nicholls. Or Liz Nicholls. I never worry about me, because I'm just. I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate, I say. Somehow I get surrounded by very good musicians, and I'm blessed, I think.
Well, there's certainly a chemistry between the band and yourself, which pays rich dividends on the album, Liz.
Thank you.
It's not an album that I would have actually gone to the must-have section straight away and played, but having played through it twice, I'm finding there are captivating tracks thereon, both musically and lyrically, that have actually caught my ear. I think, well, I must give this band another chance, and to bring it to a wider market.
I must say, though, some of the lyrics have been written because Peter used to work and has continued to work with a local poet and writer called Phil Thompson, and so he is credit for some of the more poetic writing, I'd say. Pete and I also write together as well, but some of the this opening lines, like watching the moon, killing time between stars, is one of his lines. Sorry, it's terrible when you do things like this. Your brain just goes to mush.
But that's a
I
lovely
do know
line,
the lyrics
though.
of the songs. Pardon?
That's a lovely line. The one you just said is a lovely line.
It's beautiful, and I think it's a beautiful opening line, and that's one of Phil's, you see. So
yeah,
I can't take
playing through tracks from the album, as I will edit into this interview as well. And the two that caught my ear particularly were Till You're Gone and The Love You Left Behind, which both have a kind of a lost love element to them. That doesn't actually prevail through the album, but was that just a coincidence that those two are there in that place?
Yeah, it is a coincidence. Both of them lyrically were written by Phil, actually. Pete often has a nugget of an idea, don't you, or a phrase that he wants, and then oh, you wrote the chorus, do you? That's all right. Pete's sitting right next to me, you see. But no, our album's very eclectic. It's just, we call it the journey, even though there's no song called The Journey on it. So if anyone's looking for the song called The Journey, you won't find it, which is an unusual thing to do, because we were going to call it Long Way Home, which is the final track of the album. Yes. But we feel that it's been such a journey for us all to get put together, and the actual putting of the album together. And Pete started writing probably 20 years ago with Phil, that it just seemed fitting.
Yeah, and I think you're too young to remember this, but there was a time in the 1970s when there were a whole array of concept albums, particularly in the soul and blues field. Not so much the blues, more the soul. People like Millie Jackson and had the Still Caught Up concepts, where there was no actual song called Caught Up on that, but it set the scene for the album, and for the artist to actually include a diversity of material toward telling the story, which is the album title, which is what you're doing in The Journey, isn't it?
Well, that's what we're trying to do. It's just we aren't any particular genre, which is sometimes a little bit tricky for promoting music, because they say, what are you? Are you folk, or are you blues, or are you rock? And we go, yes. Because we do what we feel. We don't want to be stuck in one little field, because we just literally it's how the music takes us, I'd say. And we develop things, and we just play what we feel. So so that's why we think the album itself, it is a journey. It's a journey through different genres, through different times, and different emotions and feelings. So without trying to sound too pompous.
No, but that's right. I mean, you have to be descriptive in these things because people are looking for a hook and a handle, aren't they? There isn't one here, other than perhaps, as we discussed previously, the handle Americana sits very nicely in what you're doing, because while you're all British, English, whatever, I presume, you've got the spirit and the ethos of the diversity of American styles that you've managed to push together in a chemistry that comes over so in such a captivating manner.
Thank you. It's hard to actually specify, isn't it? When people are very set on genres, we find, and it's surely people can cross genres. Surely music doesn't have to be one particular style, and that's what we feel we offer. It's something a little bit different, where we're not just. You won't just get blues. You won't just get rock. You'll get a mixture of different things. Yeah. So,
but that's fine. And
that's why we said the album as a whole. We wouldn't release just a single. We didn't want to just for the first time. We could have, but we didn't want to put a single out there, because then people might get an opinion of who we are, which isn't always right, because we are different things. But again, without meaning to sound pompous, but
you're quite right, because if you put people will have to pigeonhole a single. If you go up on SoundCloud, there's a little label there, isn't there, that says blues, soul, pop, or whatever. You're beyond that. Your side is called music.
Yeah, well, that's what we're hoping. That's what we believe. It shouldn't be a particular. Yeah, that's what we hope for. We shouldn't be just a particular style. It's how we feel. So
yeah, as long as you don't call yourself blues rock, because then I immediately hit the delete button.
I did notice your post on Facebook the other day about blues rock, and I was thinking, of course you say blues rock folk country.
No,
blues and rock, yes, blues and rock. And
well, yes, that would cover the bases correctly, Liz, because you're saying blues and rock. So I'm then listening for some tracks that are blues and some that are rock. But when somebody says blues rock, I'm listening for blues content that ain't there. And it annoys me. There are some very well-known bands. I won't mention them. One is a male-female duo that's been very successful lately. And their PR material all says they've won all their awards in the rock magazine circuit, bless them. Great for them, they're selling records, but it's not blues. To my ears, I'm an old git. I grew up with Elmore James and the like. So, and I've realised that blues, a bit like soul, that the goalposts have widened so much that I have to be more acceptive and responsive in what I'm listening to and playing, which is why, and it helps me in a way, because this is why I've been able to accept your album and give it more airtime.
Thank you.
Because it's come into a sphere where there are 2 or 3 songs on there. I think, wow, this lady is singing well. The song tells a story. The band's playing up a storm. This must be heard.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say so. It's nice to be well received, isn't it? Because we didn't know how people react to our stuff, because we don't pigeonhole ourselves, and that's sometimes difficult, isn't it, to try and get people to listen if they don't. Because most people listen to something, they have an expectation, or they think they listen to the first track and they almost kind of know where they're going to go next. We don't tend to do that. Yes. So thank you very much. I'm glad you like some of them on the album, and I'm glad you're listening to it.
That's fine. And I think we previously talked about your influences and people who you listen to and styles you've absorbed, but there are kind of as a diversity there, isn't there, as well? There are almost too many to name, because you've honed down to a Rumour style.
Well, we what can we say? As a band, we started off as a little acoustic trio playing some originals and quite a few covers, particularly of Fleetwood Mac, which is why there's the Rumour, because
Yes.
it was a nod. It was a nod to the Fleetwood Mac album Rumours. And as we've gone along, we've introduced more people and got the sound we actually wanted, haven't we? Which has taken us a while to find the musicians that we wanted around us. And yeah, so I've actually lost the track of what I'm talking about, which is very difficult.
Influences.
I am a natural blonde. I am a natural blonde. Sometimes this happens to me. I forget what I'm talking about. Yeah, how we started, yeah, and we just, yeah, it's, I don't know what to say now. I've completely lost track. Sorry.
No, that's fine. We've got the Fleetwood Mac subliminal influence, and the fact that you were listening to that.
Oh, influences. That's right. we have lots of them. You see, Pete used to tour and write with a well-known singer-songwriter called Martin Joseph, who's a folk musician at his whole heart. But Pete's got influences of he loves David Gilmour. Who doesn't? He's a guitarist after all.
Yeah.
And then he's got lots. He loves Springsteen. And then all of us have got different influences, really, because we all come from different things. I mean, I wanted, when I was growing up, to be a jazz singer. So that was, you know, what could I say? You know, I don't know. I just always thought that would be quite fun, but nobody has. You know, there aren't many jazz singers around, sort of doing the sort of thing that I kind of fancied myself doing. But I would never have done it anyway. But and more, we've just got into more rocky numbers, and then I've realised how much I enjoy folk and blues. So it's very mixed influences.
So the next album, you might have a token jazz blues track in there.
We've definitely got a couple of blues ones. We've got a couple of blues ones already, because we've already started recording the first 6 of the album, and there are definitely a couple of bluesy tracks in there. One's very interesting, isn't it? That one song we've done. It's kind of, folky kind of. I don't know how to describe that one. It's very different feel again. So we don't want to end up just becoming blues, or we're recording what we feel. We just do what we do. Yeah.
And why not?
And hopefully people will like it, because I think people should be. I wish people were a bit more open to think, okay, this is music. It's just music, isn't it? We shouldn't be so pigeonholey about some things. Yeah. I know people can be, but I think music should be just listened to, and it doesn't matter what it is. And if you like it, you like it. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. I feel that way about classical music. There are some I think is beautiful, and other bits that just leave me completely cold. Yeah. And I think one of the benefits of social media now, Liz, is that, and especially from my side of the fence, not so much from yours, because you've got people coming to your page who like you for what you are. I've got people coming to my page who see that I'm a radio presenter and think, right, we've got a chance for an outlet here. So there's a diversity of styles that comes in that way. And there's also, from that perspective, if I then share your album sleeve and PR on my page and share it to my radio station pages, others who are not necessarily soul blues fans will see it, and therefore the diversity comes in, and you've got social media gives you a greater range of possible acceptance than might have been the case before, because people see things by chance, don't they? Well, they do. We had quite a few people locally who knew us, but it was very difficult to get even further out of the local area, because people say, have you got an album? We say, not yet. But when they see us, they tend to like us, but it's getting known, isn't it? And getting people to I mean, we play at a blues club, don't we? We're not, as you said, we're not just blues, but they enjoy our music, don't they? So it's sorry, he's sitting next to me, but he hides. Peter does. Peter won't come on screen. I was going to say, I need a cameo of Peter before we go. But no, you're right.
if I'm seeing music live, I'm receptive to more range of styles and styles of music, even played by a particular performer, if I'm sitting there watching them in the theatre, than I would be if I was pressing the play button on a CD. Because I'm pressing the play button, I'm indoors in my own kingdom. If I'm being entertained, the person who's entertaining me has the right, effectively, to entertain me in the way they see fit.
Well, it's not just that. Is the problem with social media? It's a brilliant tool for getting out to different places, but it's very easy for, if you put something up, for people to like scroll through, isn't it? They might have heard a few seconds, and then oh, it hasn't caught their attention, and they won't give the rest of it a time of day. And this is the little bit of the problem with the old downloads and the streaming services. People might listen to a couple of seconds, think that's not for them, but we haven't warmed up at that point, you know, on a song. You know, we're not one for short songs. We don't do many 3.5 minute ones. So that way it's a little bit difficult, isn't it? And we're the old-fashioned bunch. We're not a bunch of children, and so our intros might be a little longer than perhaps what is now expected. Because we're for the listener who actually likes to listen to music, and that's
a good hook. Yeah. What you do need to perhaps bear in mind, from a perspective of radio, and to a degree to new listeners, is the first 20 seconds that counts. Whether you last 5, you need to actually have a voice that comes in, or a melody that starts in the first. I hear, sadly, in the house soul thing, you can get intro that lasts 55 seconds, Liz and Peter. And if it's 55 seconds before you got the voice on there, I was going to swear there, you've kind of lost somebody, because they think, okay, when's it start? Where's it start? And I've hit the delete button before it's even started. So as Berry Gordy found 60 years ago now, it's the first 10, 15, 20 seconds, all those Motown hits, the whole thing starts, the intro riff starts, and the vocals start. Within the first 20 seconds, you've got to capture the ear in that time, which you do. Yeah.
Oh, that's very kind, thank you, because we don't always have the vocals starting that early, but we try to draw people in, don't we? So they start hearing a sound. It's not necessarily straight into a vocal sound. I mean, look at Shine On Crazy Diamond, a Pink Floyd number. It takes them 7.5 minutes, I think it is, to actually get into the vocal bit. So, or is it 5.5 or something like that? It's quite a long time. My kids were like, what? They're at the social media, you know, scroll. I said, no, you've got to listen to this. Build up, darlings. But yes.
Yeah.
We may suit slightly older ears, perhaps, I don't know. But then we've had kids coming up to us, haven't we, with a couple of the songs that I never expected them to like, and say, White Horses. This is the one with a little penny whistling.
Yes.
They said, where can we get that? And I was like taken aback, because I was thinking, I never would have thought you would have gone for that. So you never know, do you? So.
No, you don't. This is the pleasure of music, and again, the diversity of styles in the 10 or 11 or 12 tracks on the album, that you've got that many different styles there, and people are waiting and they're interested because they heard the previous track. This one's different. Where's this one going? And that's
why we like about it. You see, that's why we tried to put the album together. That's why we released it as an album, because we think it does draw you in, because it is interesting. But that's what we felt when we were putting it together, because it's you'll get a bouncy track, and then you'll get something that you think, oh, this is a different style and a different sort of sense of music, different feel to it, and then that's why it's a journey.
Okay, and the journey has been so far eventful but productive. So productive to the fact that next Sunday the album will become available. Tell people where they can actually get hold of the album from, Liz.
On the usual download site. So we haven't actually produced CDs as yet. Some people don't want CDs because they're considered old-fashioned, but the usual iTunes, Amazon, and all that, the usual online platforms. And you can hear little, I think 30 seconds they allow, don't they? So you can play a bit of it and see what you think, and then it'd be nice if people had a look and listen, and hopefully a download or two.
Okay, well, by the time this goes out, the album, I'm not going to get it edited in time for this week. So the album will be out by the time people see this. So that's what they have to do. I'll go to your Facebook page and there'll be a link on there as well to the site.
Yeah.
So we're going to get Rumour up and started and up and running with, if not a hit album, certainly an album that people will listen to and talk about.
Well, so far we've had quite nice feedback from the places that we have sent it to, which is nice. Yeah, so if people like it and enjoy it, then we'll be delighted. We don't expect to become millionaires. It would always be nice, wouldn't it? but if people enjoy it and they get something out of it, then we'll be happy.
Well, that's a good way to finish the interview, Liz. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks to Peter for his inspiration and prompting from the sidelines there.
I'll whiz him round quickly.
Okay.
There he is.
So we'll edit this and put it out, and I wish you well with the album. I'll certainly promote and cross-promote on social media, and we'll have to talk to you again when the next album's on the verge of coming out. If you've got anything, any tracks that you've cut you want me to give pre-plays to before the next album comes, especially the bluesy stuff, do send them my way, and I'll happy to play them on Maritime and on Solar, so we get a double platform.
Thank you very much.
And Rumour and Liz Nicholls and Peter Brooks, thanks very much for your time. Have a great weekend and enjoy yourselves.
Thank you. Take care now. Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.